Yeah, we'll go get some food, man. You drank too much rum.
Yeah.
It's not the beer, it's the rum, innit? I don't know what was in his vape. You was drinking that, you was smoking that as well. That's
The vape pushed me over the edge.
I know it did. Don't throw up in here, man. Don't throw up in here. Go outside. Don't throw up in here. Don't throw up in here. Darius has left. He'll be back in a bit. So you left Feltham, and then, sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, so was given bail, but then I went back and I got a 3-year sentence. And at the time when I got the 3-year sentence, like, I thought I was going to get probation. My solicitor said, "Oh, I don't think you're going to go down for this. I think we get you probation." And I went to court. It was a 3-day trial. I was found guilty, and they sentenced me to 3 years. And it was like, to me, if you think about when you was a kid and you had the 6-week school holidays,
Yeah.
maybe it's for like a lifetime.
Yeah.
So I was 17, so I've only just sort of come from school.
Yeah.
So I was sort of like calculating a 3-year sentence to 6 weeks holidays. And I thought, not next year, not the year after, but the year after that, I'm going to get out. And it was traumatized. It was like, whoa, this is like, this ain't what I thought. I thought I was going to get a few months here and there. And
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. So you got no sort of like concept of time, and then this is like a huge period of your life, a percentage of the life
but
you've lived.
I never knew anybody that got that long. All my mates were like all the.
Why
others,
do you think
like,
you got so long then?
Because of the violence with the
Right.
So, I mean, it warranted the crime. But
Do you think they look into it and go, "Oh, his dad's this bloke"? Do you think that?
I think maybe that'll play the part where I came from. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I was just a kid from in Brixton, from the ghetto. I'd already been done for a robbery before, but never got a prison sentence by the skin of my teeth. So they thought, well, you're taking the piss. You know, we let you off with an armed robbery when you was 15, that we didn't send you to prison for.
Oh, do you think there was a bit of like they felt like they made a mistake almost?
That was definitely what happened.
Because like, I had a short, sharp shock. I got fuck all. I got caught with like an offensive weapon trying to get into a nightclub, and I went to court, my first offence, and it fucking terrified me. Like literally the opposite of you. Like I was just like, this is no, I do not like this. I didn't like I just say that fucking thing of being able to be locked up and just not freaking out. I mean, I'm not claustrophobic, but it's just like, was there ever a point where you just have to sort of like go, right, control your breathing, anxiety?
Yeah. I think, definitely. I think when I got the 3, that really affected me. It was like, I remember going down from the court, going into the cells, and just thinking 3 years. Like, this is like, I mean, like to now, if you think 3 years, it's not really that long. When you think 3 years.
Because it's a smaller percentage of our lives.
Yeah.
We're about the same age.
Yeah.
And it's like 3 years is like, I don't know what it is.
But when you're 17 and the judge tells you 3 years,
it's like fucking 25% of your life or something. I don't know the
maths. It's like a
math.
life sentence.
Yeah.
So, and there was a thing, back then, well, it's still bad now, I think, there's a thing called Section 53(2). So if you're under 18, they have to give you this section because they have to give you an adult sentence as a juvenile. So a juvenile can only get sentenced up to 12 months, a juvenile. But then anything over 12 months, they have to give you a section called Section 53(2).
Right.
And at the time, back then, if you got a Section 53(2), whatever sentence they give you, it was called detained. So you had to do the whole sentence. You didn't do half.
Right.
So I didn't know that. So I've gone into the prison thinking, all right, I'm going to do 18 months. And then they said, no, you're Section 53(2). You've got to do the whole 3 years. That was it then. I broke down. That's when I cried.
Right. Is that the first moment you thought I was on the wrong path?
Yeah, I cried. I thought, I don't think I'm cut out for this.
Well, you definitely, you clearly cut, but up to that point, you was like, this is my destiny in a way. Was that the first point when you thought, fuck?
It was the first point I shit myself.
Really?
It's like,
really?
Yeah. I got into Feltham and there was no. I remember it vividly. I remember going into the cell and I was in a single cell. I didn't go in a double. Went to a single cell. There was all this noise going on. I could hear people slagging each other off. People go, "Oh, you cunt," and all this noise was going on. Doors slamming. All that was going on. I was thinking I got this for 3 years. But I don't know if I can do it.
Did you do the full 3 years?
No, because the ruling changed at the time. So just while they changed it from you do half. But at the very start of it, I thought I was doing the full 3. Then within a few months, the ruling changes to Section 53(2). You done half of the sentence.
Right.
So it was almost like getting fucking. So then it was plain sailing for me. Then it was like I've only got to do 18 months.
So you get out.
during that time in there was a lot went on, and I saw so many of my friends coming and going. I was like,
When you say friends, do you mean like from the
all my
estate?
mates.
Yeah.
Nearly all my mates coming, and I was very established in Feltham. I was a baron and everything. I had everything.
What's Baron mean?
A baron. I had tobacco, anything you wanted, I had.
Oh,
I
right.
was Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
I was
First time I met Andy Dufresne.
I was Morgan Freeman of Feltham, and it felt like I was there that long. I felt like I was getting old in there. It was only 18 months, but when you're 17, that's like a. And my mates would come and go, and I'd be there, and whatever they wanted. I had chocolates, I had biscuits, I had tobacco, boxes of tobacco under my bed. I had all the iron shirts.
And the screws knew all this, so they.
Yeah, Scrooge used to buy biscuits off me. I used to get a double.
How does it become that then, Junior? How do you become this sort of like?
It was just like. I don't know,
Is it corruption or is it like a? What is it?
No, because it starts off like what I was doing. I was buying my canteens. So you get like £6.50 a week to start if you ain't got a job. Or no, sorry, less than that. You get about £5 a week if you haven't got a job. I'd buy biscuits, and then what I'd do, I'd give you a pack of biscuits. On your canteen day, you give me 2 back. I used to be able to buy 1/4 ounces of tobacco, so cut the half ounces. I give you 1/4 ounce, but you've got to give me half ounce back.
Right.
It was double bubble. So I started off very small, and the next thing I had boxes and boxes of biscuits and tobacco. I had everything. You know?
Like a businessman in there.
I was yeah. So I was the guy.
Yeah.
I was Morgan Freeman.
How did that feel to be?
That was good. It was good. It was like and then I became a red band. I used to drive a tractor.
What's red band mean? Is it?
A red band means I was a trustee, so I could go
Oh,
out,
right.
go out on the grounds without a prison officer. So I used to drive the tractor around. So in the summer, I'd be smoking a spliff, driving the tractor.
Spliffs?
Yeah.
You get weed in it?
Well, yeah, to get it in. So get the weed in. And that was when I used to smoke weed. So I used to smoke a spliff, drive tractors around, cut the grass. I'd drive round to the remand wing. My mate would have got a visit, because they get visits every day. He'd get a parcel of puff. I'd have one of my mates, he'd give me the puff. I'd go around, I'd be serving it up around the prison, selling puff. Driving the tractor around. It was like, I was in my age. It was like.
So in the end, you ended up enjoying it.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, Feltham was great.
And was there any was there any kind of like when it's like you're getting out? Was you a bit like fuck I've got to, or did you want to get out or did you want to stay?
I wanted to get out, but yeah, so I was on a long.
Because you had like a sort of structured life there, didn't you? Is that sort of like what you wanted in a way?
I don't know is what I wanted. I wanted to get out, but I think I wanted to get out because I think I'd got so much clout for being in there. Everyone knew Junior got a free, and that was a big sentence. And I couldn't wait to get out to sort of reap the rewards.
Yeah.
A long sentence.
Yeah.
I was 19 when I come out, and I came out to.
And how long?
Heroes Welcome.
What was the Yeah, so you got Heroes Welcome. What was the period of time between coming out and reoffending?
Oh, straight away. I was selling drugs as soon as I came out.
So, did you think you learnt that in prison? Because up to this point, you weren't. I don't know if we've missed something out, but up to that point, you haven't really mentioned drugs so much.
I was smoking and doing a bit of sniffing.
Yeah, but when you come out, was it then purely like?
When I came out, yeah. So when I came out, everything had changed. In that small space of time, that 18 months, my area.
When did you come out? So what year?
1995, I came out.
Right.
And in that period of time, it all changed. The game changed outside. There was no burgling. There was no shoplifting. All that had done. Everyone was making serious money through cracking heroin. Everyone was. All my mates were and they were driving cars. My mates picked me up. Mate of mine picked me up from prison in this big car. It was all like, whoa, what's going on out here? I want some of this. You know what I mean? And straight away, yeah, don't worry. And then I got straight from the day I come out.
Right.
Someone set me up, give me a mobile phone.
And what was you selling?
That's when the drug. I went straight into selling heroin.
Heroin.
Yeah.
Did you ever take it?
I smoked it a few times in a spliff, but that was never my thing.
No, because it sounds like there's again. I don't want to go back to the sibling thing, but your brother, like he was like the escapist that like did the comics. He's dead, man. But someone who's sort of like mindful and a thrill seeker. Heroin's not that sort of drug, is it?
No.
It's more of a sort of like a tapping out sort of thing.
Yeah, it wasn't my drug, but it was the drug that was making money at the time. So at the time, in Stockwell, we had in 1995, we had this big Portuguese contingency coming to Stockwell, South Lambeth Road. There was loads of Portuguese come over from, what's that small island in Portugal where Ronaldo's from?
Lisbon.
Huh?
Lisbon.
No, not Lisbon.
Lisbon. Mate, I've pretended you've left. You don't start slurring from the floor.
Oh, what's that small island of Portugal?
Not Sardin.
Madeira. So we had this big influx of Madeira come over to Stockwell. They're all heroin addicts.
Right.
All of them are heroin
Because
addicts.
didn't they legalise it in Portugal or something? Portugal, did they do like some sort of weird experiment there?
I think they might have done.
I think they did. I might have got that.
But there was a lot that came over to Stockwell, and at that time they were all buying heroin. So I got straight into. Somebody gave me. It started off with a 1/16 of an ounce, which 1.6 gram of an ounce. You put it into tiny bags. Out of that 1.6, it cost £100. I could make £300 back. And I could do that a day. That's how it started.
So this is the thing. So you've gone from doing this sort of like crazy shit, like creeping and armed robberies, which are, and I'm not condoning it, I'm not saying it, but I can see there would be a kind of visceral, exciting kind of adrenaline rush. Is selling drugs is just business? It doesn't seem like it's kind of like...
No, again,
it's not the same, is it? Do you know what I mean?
But you know what? It was a different level. So...
Yeah, but now you're a career criminal.
Yeah. So now, and the thing is, I didn't hide it. I wasn't your smartest. You know, I had a long leather Mac. I was the
Neo from the Matrix.
Like, yeah, I had the same leather Mac. Like, you know, it was like I was on the estate. I had all fucking gold rings. It was just like. Now I look at it, I think, what a cunt. You know, like really ridiculous. But that was where I wanted to be. I wanted to be that guy that everybody...
So it sounds like you wanted to be, like you've said it again in Feltham, it sounds like you didn't want to just like reap the benefits from crime or commit the crimes, but you want to be seen.
Yeah.
I was kind of like proud that I got 3 years at Feltham. I wanted to be seen. Looking, Junior, we're just looking for approval from your dad. Mate, I'm there too, man. That's where I'm at in my life.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said this in another podcast. Yeah, definitely.
And I'm the same. And it's so... People don't understand. Fathers don't... I hope this Father's Day we're recording this. And I hope fathers understand. Yeah. It's so fucking... It's so massive, isn't it?
So, I'll tell you what. Sorry, because we missed a bit from earlier. But just very quickly, just to sort of put in a nutshell how it meant to me. So, before I got the 3 years and I got down for this other robbery... They come and arrested me for armed robbery, attempted armed robbery, and conspiracy to armed robbery with a gun. I was 14 when I done it. They never found the gun. They come and arrested me, and when I was in the police station, before I got to the police station, Brixton Police was driving me around for an hour and a half, and they were slapping me about in the back of the car because the guy that I'd done the robbery with was a black guy, and they wanted the black guy, and they were blatantly, clearly saying, don't go down for this black guy. Don't go down.
Don't want you to sort of finger him.
For worse than that, you know, you can imagine what they were saying. Do not go down for this. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And they were, and I didn't grasp. I said, listen, no. Got to the police station. My dad's come to the police station. This was a serious thing. And my dad said, "Oh, let me have a chat with him." All right, go on, Stu. My dad come in the cells, and my dad gave me out and said, "Don't you ever fucking grasp." He said, "I'm proud of you." You know what I mean? Because I didn't grasp on my mate. That was a big important thing. And I remember how that felt. I thought, yeah, my dad's accepted me. I wanted
approval.
Approval,
Yeah. So did he visit you when you was in Eltham and stuff?
Oh, yeah. My dad visited me everywhere I went. I mean, you know, I've been in 11 prisons, and he visited me in all the prisons.
So you come out of Feltham, you start slinging heroin. How do you feel about that? It's not like the buzz, but did you feel?
It was the.
Do you ever see like those poor people on the streets and feel bad or not? Or is it just money?
You know what? I've said this before as well. Everything I actually done, as much as I said about, you know, that it was accepted, I did always have a conscience.
Yeah. I can tell. That's what I think Darius was getting at earlier when he was saying about.
I always had a conscience. Even when I've done that robbery, you know, all the robberies I've done. There was lots of robberies. The burglaries. I remember burglaring someone's house on Christmas Eve and feeling really guilty and putting it. There was a picture and I'm putting the picture down because they were looking at me.
Yeah.
I always did have that conscience, but at the time.
So what was it that overrid it?
Overrid it was that I don't know. It was just about the life.
Like a fatalism. It's like I know my path.
Yeah.
This is just a milestone along the way. So you're selling heroin. You're making how much money? You're making this. You're making a lot of money.
I was making £1,000 a day.
Fuck it! Now we're 1995. Yeah. Jeez. So what are you doing with it? You just spend it on rings and leather coats?
Yeah. Well, I was living the life. I was in the pub every day. I was sniffing cocaine. You know, it was women. Fast life.
Yeah, they cost money. So so the coke, what you do, like a gram a day or more?
A lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
By this time, the cocaine kicked in.
Do you think that contributed to you not being so discreet? Because coke's a bit of a.
Yeah. No, I was doing more than a gram. I was doing 3.5 grams a day, 8 a day. Like proper.
And how long? And so then you're doing this from 95. Did you get done for this?
Yeah, well, so I was doing that. Got caught up in I was doing so much drugs. In the end, I was doing more drugs than I was selling.
Right.
So I was ending up in debt to dealers.
Oh.
My cocaine habit was out of thingy, but I was living out of my means. So I'd get something off someone, I'd get tick off them, carry on living the life I'm living, but just all I was doing literally was just taking from Peter to pay Paul. And then I was doing it with so many people. At the end, I had all these people I owed money to, like big people.
So now is the lifestyle sort of
Yeah.
like is it now like instead of like sort of I think I'm on this path is now it sounds like it's getting a little sort of bit chaotic
It was chaotic. It was absolute chaos. It was, you know, I had a cocaine habit. I was drinking, but and I still wanted to buy the clothes. Still wanted to have the best clothes. I was still trying to put on a show, put on a
front.
A front.
Yeah.
Trying to put on a front. So everyone else, I looked like I was doing really well, but I wasn't. I was fucked.
At this point, are you sort of like
Psychosis is kicking in.
right? And do you think that's cocaine, or do you think it's just that period of time in the lifestyle as well?
Lifestyle, the coke, all of it.
Did you feel like you'd gone down a wrong road, or?
Yeah, I was fucking walking.
Obviously, you feel that now, but what was there a point where you went, I don't have to do this?
Not then, no.
No, not then, but there was a point where that happened.
Later on.
Yeah. So you're doing all this now. You say like you're on getting your gear on tick and you owe people money. Is this when you start importing it yourself, or?
But no, we ain't got to that bit yet. So
Yeah.
at that time, I'm still. It's all like so I'm saying. So I'm still earning money, but it was just literally just to pay for my day.
Yeah.
But I was owing people money.
Yeah, just treading water.
And I was getting paranoid. I was walking around with a gun. I've done some silly stuff.
Your dad sold you this gun?
Yeah, my dad's.
Is that? Let's go get into that because we.
Well, I mean, you know, guns was about. If you're selling drugs, guns were about. It was a
Fuck,
you
man.
know, so everyone had a gun, but
Ever had one pointed at you?
yeah, yeah.
How's that feel?
I was put in the boot of a car.
You were put in the boot of a what, under gunpoint, or?
Yeah, under gunpoint. Yeah, it was something I never done. It was mistaken identity. Two Yardy guys grabbed me, flung me in the boot of a car, beat the shit out of me, put a gun in my mouth. I had to say that I had done it and I could get their stuff back, even though I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. It gave me time to get away. So yeah, I've had that. I've been shot at and I've shot at
What the
people.
fuck goes through your mind, Junior, when you're in a boot of a car? Like,
Yeah, I pissed my pants. That's the truth.
yeah, well done for not shitting your pants as well. I think I'd have done the duo.
I probably would have done it
Yeah, if I'd have eaten, I was
yeah,
actually starving.
I literally did piss my pants. It was a fucking scary time.
Did you think they were going to pull the trigger?
I thought it was dead. They took me underground garages. I'll tell you what happened. So a guy's house was burgled, and he had all these weed. It was weed. He had all this weed taken, and blah blah blah. Someone said it was a white guy.
The only one in
The only white
Brixton.
guy. The only one in the village.
The other one draws comics, ain't him.
Yeah, the only one in the village. So they come for me, but it wasn't me. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I was going around to my mate's house. Two guys masked up, grabbed me, took me down and said, flung me into a boot of a car, literally shut the door. And I remember, because I'm very claustrophobic as well.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So when you talk about the prison door slamming,
Yeah, but
did that make you claustrophobic, or?
No, no. I mean, there's a difference between a prison cell and a fucking
Right. So you don't like confined space.
yeah.
I don't like not being able to get out.
Yeah, no. So if I was locked in here now, I'd be all right.
Right,
If
but
you
you
put
just
me in a
don't like,
fucking
yeah,
coffin,
like you don't like a sleeping
I had
bag.
an MRI scan, and I should.
Yeah, they're scary. Yeah, that's scary.
But being in a boot of a car and you've been you're not just sort of climbed in and put yourself.
No, yeah,
You've been,
no.
You've been manhandled, punched up, and put in a car.
Yeah, that's pretty traumatic.
Then they've opened up the boot. I'm like that, and the geezers push a gun, smash my tooth, like put the gun in my mouth, telling me he wants his stuff.
And you hadn't done it.
I never done it. I didn't know what he was talking about, but I knew for a fact if I kept saying I didn't do it,
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah.
he's gonna kill me. I said okay.
You had to comply.
I said I've done it. I said,
Yeah.
okay. But you're gonna have to give me a couple of days, blah blah blah. And in that time, they give me a proper beating and said that we know where you live, we know where your mum is, we know all this stuff. You know, if we don't get our stuff back in by such and such time, we're coming for your family. They let me go, and I remember going. I don't know if you know the area, Stockholm on Vauxhall, like literally
Yeah,
next to each other.
next to each other. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, Vauxhall was like going, it was like going to Costa del Sol. It was, I don't know,
Yeah.
like my world was so small that
Yeah.
Vauxhall, yeah, they won't catch me in Vauxhall.
Right. You moved like a mile, thinking they'll never find me.
You get these proper criminals that go abroad or they emigrate or whatever. I went to Vauxhall, but in that time I was at my auntie's in Vauxhall. I spoke to some mates of mine. by luck of that, they found out who actually done it. There was someone else. It wasn't even a white guy; it was a black guy.
Easy mistake to make.
Yeah, nothing
He was
like,
called Junior.
Nothing like me. But they found out. So, but that was one thing that I would say that was one of my.
You thought you were a goner?
I thought I was dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been stabbed 3 times. I've been, it's like. But that was the one time I thought I was going to go.
Yeah, because you're not in control because you don't know what they're on about. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes in a situation, if you go like, "Oh, this is a bad situation," but I know all the moving parts.
Yeah, when I got
this must
stabbed,
be a thrust upon you.
When I got stabbed, I deserved it. This one here, I didn't know what the fuck was
Yeah,
going
exactly.
on.
So what the fuck do you say to someone? So you said that he said that you started importing
Yeah. So what?
How do you fucking get a hook up in Bolivia or wherever?
Cuba.
Cuba.
Yeah. So what happened was, by this time now, I was still selling. I wasn't selling heroin anymore. I was selling cocaine because I had to sell it because that's what I was taking.
Right.
So I was getting cocaine.
So you could take it cheaper,
so I can feed my habit.
Yeah.
Stop selling heroin. I was selling cocaine, so I was getting an ounce of heroin, ounce of cocaine, enough so I can sniff and just get their money back like that. But it was I was living on a what's the word?
Tightrope. Yeah.
On a tightrope, and it wasn't going to last long. There was no time in this. I knew for a fact at some point something's got to give. So I was hanging around with a couple of guys. Someone told me about these Jamaican guys that were importing cocaine, and they were paying people $5,000 to import it. And I thought, wow, that's not enough. You know what I mean? A mate of mine, or 2 mates of mine, 2 brothers, they done a run and they got paid $5,000 each. So my head was thinking, okay, so if I've got the cocaine and I'm coming from Cuba to London and I get through of it and it's like 3 kilos, which is a lot of money.
It's a lot,
It's like, a lot of money. I'm thinking, what if I just came through Gatwick and just took it, and just went off or whatever? They don't know who I am or whatever. Anyway, so I said to them, set me up with this. I'm going to do it. And I said, so they thought I was going to do it for the $5,000. End up going over to Cuba. You know what the funny thing is? This is mad. I've never been on a plane before.
Right.
So my first journey on a plane was to go and import 3 kilos of cocaine back from Cuba.
And you could be nervous about flying anyway. You must have been shitting yourself.
And not even knowing what you're doing or where you go or what. I know nothing. I literally.
Yeah. You'd be an experienced traveller. You'd think would help.
Yeah, definitely. So my first ever journey on a plane was to Cuba to go and import. And I went to Cuba. I went with these 2 brothers. And a guy who's dead now, I won't say his name, guy who's dead now, we got on a plane. It was just it was a nightmare. The guy that's dead now was a heroin addict, which killed him in the end. But anyway, so we're on a long haul plane to Cuba. During that time, he's got his heroin with him because he needs it. If he don't, he's going to get sick.
Yeah.
He forgot he had his heroin on him, and he cheats in his arse. And when he was on the plane, he had a shit and lost his heroin. So now he's going into cluck mode.
Right. Getting cold turkey.
He's going cold turkey. He's starting to withdraw. By the time we get to Cuba, sweating, withdrawing. Get to Cuba. Anyway, he's sorting it out, whatever. I've met up with these guys, 2 Jamaican guys, in a hotel, and I think I'm Tony Montana now. This is all part of my thing about I'm the man. So I'm in a hotel. I was 21 now, so 21. Meeting some Jamaicans in Cuba, picking up cocaine to bring back. And in my head, I just thought, right, this is where I'm meant to be. They met me, and I remember arguing with these guys. I remember trying to pretend to be I was this fucking geezer. I was literally nothing. All I was a runner. But in my head, I'm thinking, no, I'm gonna nick all this cocaine. That was the thing. I was gonna nick it. Got the cocaine. They've gone. Anyway, loads of shit went on in that holiday. But coming back, going through the Cuban. Going through Havana airport, it was a Samsonite suitcase, and it was a made part of the case. So if you open up the case, it's like a case.
Yeah, like a compartment sort of thing.
Compartment, yeah. And it got 3 kilos of cocaine made in sort of paste going down the side. When I was going through Havana airport, they put the suitcase on the scales. It was overweight. So I think, oh shit! So I had to pay for this for the overweight. Again, it was just like a fucking red flag thing. By the way, while I was in Cuba, all I'd done was sniff cocaine. Okay, the whole time I didn't see it.
So what's your mental state like? You're not.
Oh no,
you're erratic
I was
and
erratic. It was cocaine and
twitchy and shit.
Yeah. but I was whiter than I went out there. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
40 degrees.
I've been in the sun for 3 weeks.
I came back like the Yeti, like,
Yeah.
and I mean, so I'm coming through, and plus I was 10 stone soaking wet. I was literally,
Right.
you know, fucking skinny, gaunt face, white, 21-year-old.
You look
Suitcase
like, yeah,
come from
yeah,
Cuba.
yeah. You look like a mule.
Yeah. Anyway, so we come through, but so there was 4 of us. We all had 3 kilos each. So there's a lot of kilos. So I'm going through. The 2 brothers have gone through together. They put their cases on one of them trolleys. They've got through. The other guy who's dead now, he's gone through. As I'm going through, I'm just all sort of nervous. I didn't know what going through meant. I didn't know what the green zone meant.
Yeah, yeah. Declare or not declare, yeah.
And I'll never forget it. This guy, I remember his name. His name was Earl, Officer Earl, because obviously I was in trial. Officer Earl, he said, like, can I have a chat with you, please? Did you pack your suitcase yourself? Yes, I did. Anyway, so he put the scale, the thing on the scales again, and he sort of, they know exactly what each suitcase weighs. They've got a thing. So thinking, well, compared to what's in there, that suitcase weighs heavier than it should be. So I mean, they put me into a room. I'm thinking, shit. Next thing I can hear a drill. So they're drilling, and they drilled through the suitcase. And the guys walked in with the drill, walked into the room. On the end of the drill, there's all this white powder.
Oh, man.
And he goes, "Do you know what this is?"
How do you feel now?
I just felt
Heart
like,
sink. Arse fell out.
Yeah, I just thought, well,
Done.
yeah. What can I say? I just said, I don't know.
The other 2 got through?
They got through.
Yeah.
They got through. Yeah, so I just remember thinking, right, I'm fucked.
Big boy shit.
Yeah.
Bit like, did you feel like, yeah, fuck, here we are.
I was 21. So what happens then? So what happens if you get nicked at Gatwick Airport? They keep you overnight. They charge you, and they take you to Crawley Magistrates.
Right.
From Crawley Magistrates, they take you to Higher Down Maximum Security Prison. And I remember that was my first entrance into Big Boy League. So I'd done Feltham. I
Yeah.
was quite established Feltham. But now I'm 21.
Yeah.
You have to be 21 to go to.
And a bigger crime.
And I
Yeah.
was the youngest in the prison.
Yeah.
Going into Higher Down. And again, I sort of felt like, you know, a part of my what I was seeking, that bit of clout.
Yeah.
Now I'm with the big boys.
Again, a graduation.
Another graduation, another step up where I saw myself going. You know, and I mean, that was it. And I didn't see outside the door for another nearly 5 years.
And that was your longest.
Yeah, I got 8 years for that.
You got 8 years. You served 5.
So I served 4 years odd.
Right.
Because I lost a bit of time, but during that sentence there, I mean, there was so much things that happened. I mean,
That's
I grew
another
up-
whole fucking episode.
Yeah.
Innit? What fucking that?
That's where I grew up in that prison environment. I mean, I learned how to shave in prison. I mean, it's like, you know, that's how it was.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, you were a boy,
Yeah,
innit?
yeah,
You come
yeah.
out a man.
Yeah, I learned how to shave in prison. I didn't know all this stuff I learned. I mean, and the things I saw in there, the things that happened, you know, the fights. You know, I was in a prison called Swaleside Prison, which is a notorious prison. You know, it's a dumping ground, and it's a fucking nightmare. Helicopters are coming and taking bodies out. You know, I see a guy getting.
So notorious for sort of like, what do you mean? Like it's a bit lawless in there?
Yeah, fucking, yeah.
And how
proper
did you look after yourself? Just
I mean, I had a couple of little fights, but I was actually always all right. I don't know, I always sort of got on with people, and I knew people, but I saw stuff, you know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean, nothing really bad happened to me.
No, exactly. But I'm saying you're in this place where it's like, you know,
But it was happening all around.
if you zig when you should have zagged, you're fucked, innit?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you,
So do you think you had sort of like do you think that you had to like you were sort of like had a survival mindset,
Yeah,
sort of like an instinct
Yeah.
to know? Could you see shit coming and think, fuck, I'm going to look the other way?
I think what it is, how I see prison, however you are outside of prison,
Yeah.
same inside, but it's magnified.
Yeah, it's just it's another environment, isn't it?
So if you're
yeah.
if you're a wrong or you're a cunt, you're going to be a big cunt in prison.
Yeah, because you can be. And,
Yeah,
or you get found out
Yeah,
sooner, do you think?
And you're just so exposed. You're under the microscope.
Yeah, you can't escape, can you?
So wherever you are out here, I would say, you know, if you're a guy that's a people's person, which I always was, you're okay. You're still fucking. I mean, I still got my head smashed in with a fucking cue, and so I still had that, but it wasn't. You know, some people going and their fucking life's a nightmare.
Number one worst thing about it, mate. The whole experience prison. What's the number one thing that you fucking the worst thing?
The worst thing in what I saw,
Or just what you hate, what you like don't miss the most. Do you know what I mean? Like, is it because like For me, it would be. I don't know. I've never been in, but I just think like I said, I've got this thing about I don't like anyone telling me what to do.
I mean,
And it's just that kind of like you've got to have a shit now. It's like,
everything you do, you've got to put an application in. And I think
bureaucracy.
That form when they say if you put an application, those words, whatever you want. If you want to visit, you've got to put an application. If you want a cleaning job, put an application. If you want to get your beds your sheets changed, put an application in. Everything's so that as well. Just being told everything what you got being told what to do.
Because freedom's a massive spectrum, and freedom means a lot of things. Obviously, the lack of freedom, you can't just leave. But that freedom of I can't even just do. Yeah. Could you have like when you want to have a cup of tea or coffee? Do you have that in your? Mate, I'm so naive. Do you have a kettle in your room?
No, so by the time you get into like a long-term as prison, I mean, you've got all that stuff. So you've got a kettle and you've got tea bags, you've got food, you've got stuff in your cell. So it's not quite as bad when you're a long-termer. But I think it's the more like it's more about what's going on outside. So when I got that,
fear of missing out.
I already had a son by then.
Oh fuck!
So,
and you didn't see him.
No, so
did he come visit you?
My son was 14 months when I got arrested, and he was 6 when I got out.
Did you see him in that time at all?
Yeah, I saw him, but there was a few
through a glass or
Yeah, so on visits, and I saw him a few times, but there was times when I didn't see him because his mum was whatever, So that was the thing. It was about my son at that time, and
that's a huge change in your life. But what changed? Because when you got out of that, is that when you turned your life around, or was it?
So well, when I came out, I was moved about 11 different prisons. I ended up in a prison called Latchmere House, which is a resettlement prison for long-termers. And during that time, what they do, they let you out in the morning,
right,
to go and look for a job.
So, right.
Yes, you had people. Anybody that got on a bus around Richmond area at that time was probably driven by a guy from prison.
Really?
Because they were all bus drivers. I didn't have a driving license, so I couldn't get a bus driver's job. So, but yeah, they're all bus drivers. So literally, all the people around, they send you out to get a job, and if you had between 6 months and 12 months left, you could be going out to work and come back. So people literally getting up in the morning, going to work, going back to prison at night.
Right.
I didn't want a job, so I had to pretend I had a job. So I got a friend of mine to say that I was working with him on doing labouring for his.
Right.
And I used to just come out and go and hang around my area, see my mates.
Still, nothing naughty, can't admit to.
No, not really, nothing really naughty, but I found I met a woman, and so basically I was going around her house.
Right. Okay.
And she lived near the prison, so I met this lady. So I was going to the job centre because they sent to the job centre. So I was going to the job centre. She worked in the cafeteria, and I remember going there every morning, buying my coffee. She never knew I was from prison. She was just got chatting, and she asked me out for a date. She said, "Do you want to go out Friday night?" And I said, "Well, to be honest with you, I can't." And she went, "Why not?" I said, "Well," she goes, "Are you married?" And I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "I'm in prison."
I'm married.
She's like, "What do you mean you're in prison?" I said, "I had to show her because you had to carry a license with you."
Right.
While you was out. I showed her, and she could. Anyway, she stuck by me. Anyway, she waited. I had 6 months left to myself. I was going around her house every day. End up marrying her.
Right. Oh, okay.
End up getting. So she met me on my prison gate. I mean, she was. But yeah, she was a beautiful woman. Love. It was great. She met me at the prison gate. I'm on the release date. I moved straight in her house. Lived in Kingston. I got a job as security. I was doing security work for a while.
Is that the first job you've had, or?
That was the first proper job.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because up until this point, you've been a career.
Sorry, that was my first job.
Yeah.
So doing security work, earning really good money. We had a big white wedding. It was all going well and all that. She liked a bit of Charlie every now and then.
Right.
I liked a bit of Charlie every now and then. And then it became a bit cocaine toxic.
Right.
And then
it can be a little bit combative, can't it? Yeah.
I mean, more so on my part, I suppose. I mean, I don't want to put anything on her, but I end up walking away from the relationship, which, and because in my head it sort of felt like I came out of one prison straight into another. I sort of
got you. Yeah.
And and then when I left her, that's when it all went a bit P-tong again. Because
what happened then? Why did you get back into the life?
But it was more so into the addiction.
Right.
This is where addiction really sort of kicked in.
And what was that? Coke?
Cocaine, alcohol. Addicted to anything really. Sex.
Same. I've got an addictive personality.
Yeah.
The only one that I can't fucking stop is drinking.
Yeah.
I just don't want to. I love it so much. Do you know what I mean?
I think if it's not causing you a problem and you can. And,
I mean, that's subjective, isn't it? Because some people would.
all depends what you call a problem.
But I don't even look at that and go, yeah, it's fine. But like if someone did drugs and did that, I'd be like freaking out. But I'm like, it's booze. And that's the way I grew up. It's like,
if he just had a smoke of heroin, he was doing that, you'd be worried.
yeah, I'd be like, we're calling an ambulance. I'm like, he's just fucking pissed. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But so you turned your life around, and tell us what you're doing now.
So what I'm doing now, so to cut a long story short, because it is quite a long story. So I ended up in rehab. I went to rehab in Bournemouth.
Was that for cocaine, sorry?
Cocaine and crack. I was smoking crack.
Just addiction in jail? Oh, crack. Well, what's that like, mate? I've never smoked crack, but...
Oh, it's fucking lovely.
But it's just short-lived, isn't it?
It's very short-lived, yeah. But it's...
Is it like cocaine on steroids sort of thing?
That is exactly... That's a good description there.
So it's like more coke than
big
coke.
High,
yeah.
Gone very quickly, but yeah, I started smoking crack.
See, the thing is, Junior, when you was in that fucking flat, man, creeping, and someone threw that machete at you, that is like coke. That's like crack. That's like that ultra high, heightened, your fucking senses, like that big peak of sort of like...
And I still crave
And you
that
said
now.
heroin's not your thing.
No.
Which heroin is more like a sort of like baseline...
Crack was my thing.
Yeah, and that's sort of like, that's your personality, isn't it? Like that creeping is like crack. A crack activity, do you know what I mean?
Even now, away from all that, and as we're going to get to in a minute, my life has changed, but I still seek that. You know, I do boxing.
Yeah.
I still like to box. I like to get in a ring with people there. And
so when you're in the ring, mate, and I always want to ask this about combat sportsmen. Obviously, the aim is to hit and not get hit.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thrill? Hitting them, or the thought or the threat that you could get hit? That jeopardy, which is like creeping.
I couldn't even answer. I think it's both, but I also it's like the crowd as well. I like doing it.
Yeah, of course, adulation.
So, you know, like having all your people, like just people there, and you're watching.
But they was in your head when you was on your career. That you know, when you was on your path. Those people in your dad's lounge, they were the crowd in your head, wasn't it?
It was all for clout. Everything was for clout. It was for, you know, to be recognised, and people say, "Oh, yeah, he's this and that," and you know, which.
Sorry, anyway, I interrupted you, but you know.
Yeah, but which now I sort of see as was a load of bollocks. It's all fucking not real.
I don't know if it's not real or bollocks, but it's something you sort of go, I shouldn't make that my master, but it's definitely real, isn't it?
Yeah. I suppose that's what you said. Yeah, it became my master. I sort of loved getting off on that stuff, but also that adrenaline. And I do like the thought of somebody trying to hit me.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's like you're trying to get away with something. Like
I'm so scared of losing. I just go all in, and I can't lose this.
So how many fights you had?
What the
white collar boxing?
I've had three of those, but I've had quite a few in
on the cobbles. Yeah.
No, those are them on there. But I'm talking about in the sparring, because sparring to me is no different.
Yeah, of course. No, you don't want to lose.
I've had like loads of sparring, but you know, like I've had three white collar fights that I won. Thank God, I won. And then, even the sparring, even when you go to the sparring ring, obviously there's no crowd there. And you're not doing it for. Still the same thing for me. The same buzz, the same. I can't lose. I want to. You know, so it's just... What's
your sort of like biggest, like I'm not going to your biggest. Actually we'll say that. What's your biggest regret out of it? Like, because it's a very undulating thing, and there's been a lot of you've come to a lot of crossroads, and I think a lot of people, most people, pick the path of least resistance and you obviously haven't got that gene, so you haven't sort of gone, oh, if I go down the left road. You know, I'll be a good boy and be safe. If I go down the right road, trouble lies. Most people just go down the left road. So what is your biggest... Have you got a big regret? Like one thing?
I think... I don't have many regrets, to be honest with you. I mean, and I've said this before as well, that I don't deal with guilt and shame. I don't have that. The stuff I've done that I have remorse for.
Remorse, might be.
I have remorse. So there's things I've done that I have remorseful for. I don't feel guilt. Guilt and shame serves no purpose other than a stick to beat yourself with. And I'm not.
Man, that's so true. And it's like, it's so fucking. Yeah. It fucks so many people up that I know in my life.
So if I've got guilt, you just beat yourself up. You know what? I've accepted what I've done. I've made amends where I can make amends. I still make amends today, so I don't have guilt or shame. In terms of regret, would be. You know, I went to prison when my son was 40 months, and I lost those first 5 years of a kid's life. Is a big part. He's 26 now. You know, we got an okay relationship, but I do think that there's a lot lost because of those first 5 years, those bonding years. So my biggest regret would be around my oldest boy being a baby, because I also had custody of him when
Right. Okay.
I lost all that, and he went back to his mum, and so that bond that those first, because I've also got 4 other children now.
Right.
That I've got that bond with.
Yeah, and you know how much it means.
How much it means
yeah,
to
yeah,
them, how
yeah.
important
And you missed out on your firstborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be my biggest regret.
Yeah.
If
Something you'd change.
Yeah, something I would definitely change. I feel,
And I've got to ask this question. You are right. Alternative for reality. You are in the lounge with Shotgun Stewart, right? You're one of them men in the lounge smoking and chatting, and young Junior comes down the stairs and walks in the lounge. You're one of the men in the lounge.
Yeah.
What would you say? And he looks like he wants to get involved. What would you say to him?
But if I'm in the lounge with Shotgun Stewart, I think.
No, but I'm saying his son comes down. It's you, and you.
Yeah.
Like, if you go, you can see.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've got a son now who's 13 that is so like me. I mean, he's just it scares the shit out of me.
Right.
He's so like me. He's getting in trouble at the moment.
Is he?
And he's in trouble at school, and I've got a lot of fear around what's going to happen with him. And I'm trying to talk to him, in a way.
So no one could have said anything to you. Could
No, I
change
couldn't say
it.
anything. And I don't think I can say. I think whatever I say to my boy Troy, that ain't going to change it. He's got his path. I think we all have our path, and we have to live that path.
So you said you got 5 children.
I've got 4 boys and 1 girl. Yeah.
4 boys and 1 girl. So out of the 4 boys, but he's the one
Troy-
that has
Troy-
got the Shotgun Stewart gene.
He's got.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He's on that.
He looks just like me. He's a spitting image of me. I mean, he's a lovely kid.
So you don't think you can reverse it or change it? Or
Well, all I've got to do is just be there for him.
do you think anyone could have reversed or changed your path? No.
I don't mean no, not at that time. No, I think I was already on it. I'm hoping this is a phase it's going through, and it's not going to. I really, really pray that he's not going to go through what I had to go through. I always thought that because my kids didn't know about my life since they've been born. I've been, I'm in university. I go to university. I'm a drug and alcohol counsellor. I'm quite a pillar of the community, so to speak. Now in my own community in Lambeth and Brixton, and they've only ever known that. So I was hoping that he was never exposed to what I was.
So it's nature rather than nurture. Yeah, it's genetic, isn't it?
This feels like that. Yeah, no, which is scary, but I'm just hoping that.
So that's what you're doing now. You're a drug and alcohol
Yes,
counsellor.
I work in substance misuse. So I lead in relapse prevention in Lambeth, working with drug and alcohol clients.
Wow.
Addiction. I've been working in addiction for 14 years. I'm also a trainee psychotherapist in university now. I never finished school. I mean, now I'm going to university, so.
You was busy at school time, weren't you? You was making money, stacking paper, making bad decisions.
So now I'm in school now. I love it, and I do other things as well. I help with some of the kids that are involved in getting involved in gangs, and I've got my own motivation workshop that I deliver that gets them involved in boxing and self-esteem building, confidence building. There's a lot of stuff I do now. But for some reason, I can't. My son don't want to hear it from his dad because your dad's.
No. Yeah, I've
so-
got 2 teenage boys, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I could go and talk to your boys.
Yep, and they'd listen to
probably
you,
listen.
and I could talk to yours, and they'd listen to me.
Yeah.
You talk to yours, and I'm like, what the fuck are you on about?
Yeah. So yes. So when you ask that question about what would I say,
Yeah.
I mean, I would love.
I'm not saying he'd take any
Yeah.
notice, but what would you say is one of the men when this young boy comes down, all sort of starry-eyed?
I'll tell you what I'd like to say. I'd like to say, find your own identity, because I think my whole life was trying to be my dad.
Footsteps.
And
Following in footsteps.
And I wanted to. I didn't have an identity. I lost my identity. Now I know who I am. I know who Junior is. I know what my values are.
Do you think that the name Junior's a bit like that?
Yeah.
Feels like a sort of like a, oh, you're just a small version of this person. Do you know what I mean? It's like your actual name.
Yeah. It does. I mean, it literally feels like I was him. I was my dad.
Yeah.
And I had to live up to him. And my dad was very well respected. I mean, he was a very well respected man. And I had to live up to that. And I had to sort of precede that as well. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be the the bigger and the.
Well, listen, man, you're doing what you're doing, and Ram Dass is a philosopher. He said, "A real man is a man that can give the love he never received," and it sounds like you're doing that in the community, and you're going out to people and you're talking about like addiction and all these sort of like these things, and but like, thanks so much for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for this fucking interesting. We've got Amy Winehouse on the floor over here. This is the 3-Piece Speech podcast. We're out. Goodbye.